Let's solve a problem together. This is a simple problem related to converting temperatures. We will write a program together that converts a Fahrenheit degree to Celsius. And here is the formula. A Celsius degree is calculated as follows. You take the Fahrenheit degree, subtract 32, and you multiply the result by 5/9. If you write this formula in Java, it will look like this. Celsius equal 5/9. However, be careful here because if you write just 5/9, this will be an integer division. To prevent this, one of the numbers has to be a floating point number. So here we can choose 5.0 as the floating point number, or you can just write 5/9.0. They will give you the same result. So that's the first part of the formula, is 5/9, times Fahrenheit, whatever the degree is, minus 32. Now let's write the program. Okay, as you can see, I have an empty template. I already imported Java util scanner because we are going to read something from the keyboard. And here you can see my empty public class public static void main. My cursor is blinking on line 7 where I'm going to start writing my program. First, let's define the scanner object. I'm going to name it input. This will be a new object, so new scanner. I'm going to finish this line. I defined my keyboard and I named it as input. Now next, let's give a line, blank line. Let's write a message on screen because we want the user of the program to enter a number. But it's always a good idea to tell the user what the program is expecting. System out dot. Let's write our message. Enter degree in Fahrenheit. Give a blank. And don't forget the semicolon. So this will print some message on the screen. Now let's read this input from the user because we put the message on the screen. Now we expect the user to enter a number. But to be able to read that number, we need to define a variable. Our variable will be of type double because a temperature doesn't have to be an integer value. It can actually be a floating point number. So I'm going to define it as double. I'm going to name it Fahrenheit equal input What this line does is to read a double value from the keyboard, and whatever is read will be assigned to this variable called Fahrenheit. Next thing we need to do is to convert Fahrenheit to Celsius. Now we are already keeping the Fahrenheit degree entered by the user inside this variable here, Fahrenheit. But then I need another variable. I'm going to name it Celsius to store the value in Celsius. Now I'm going to write my formula. 5.0 over 9. Remember, the first part of the formula was 5 over 9 multiplied by the degree in Fahrenheit I made a mistake. Instead of writing Fahrenheit, I wrote Fahrenheit. So I forgot H. And that's why exactly you see this as colored as red. If I hover my mouse over it, it tells me what is wrong. It says cannot resolve symbol Fahrenheit. The reason of this, we did not define a variable with that name. That variable does not exist because our variable is named Fahrenheit. So since I forgot to write the name with H, the Java compiler thinks that this is another name, it's a different name, and then tells us, well, you did not define that variable. So let's correct this. And you can see that it just coupled with the definition. Remember the formula. Now I need to subtract 32. And again, never forget the semicolon at the end of the line. So here's my calculation. The only thing that remains now is to write the solution of the answer on screen. I'm going to put some messages with the result before just typing the result as a number. Fahrenheit. Then this plus sign will connect this word with the number. Then another plus. Now what does this println line do, this line 12, is actually print a series of messages on screen. Whatever you see in between the quotes will be printed as it is. So you will see on screen Fahrenheit. And after that, you will see a number, whatever the value of Fahrenheit number is. And then you will see the message is. Then you will see the number that the Celsius has. And then finally, you will see the message in Celsius. Now let's run our program. I'm going to push this button. Now you can see the output screen here, and the program asks me enter a degree in Fahrenheit. If you look at the program code once again. The first executable line in this code is this line 9 here. System out print. This will print something on screen, and the something is in between the parentheses. Enter a degree in Fahrenheit. So you see the exact message on the output screen here. And then the next line, again, remember, it's an input. So here, Java expects the user to enter a number, and that number has to be a double value. So what value should we enter? Let's enter 100. I enter the number and I press enter. The program continues to run. The next line after we enter the value is actually our mathematical formula that makes the calculation. And once the calculation is done on the right side, the result of the calculation will be assigned to this value here, Celsius. Once that calculation is done, the println function will write the result on screen with this output message we created. So Fahrenheit 100 is 37.7777 in Celsius. So here's a small example for you so that you can work with, change some of the lines, just delete some of the lines, change the messages, and do some other calculations as well if you want to. For example, as an exercise, you can try to figure out how you can convert this program to actually calculate the Fahrenheit from given Celsius value. How do you change the formula? How do you change the messages? And how you can convert this program to do the opposite.